Deep in the hedgerows, wild fields, and garden corners grows the blackberry, a jewel of summer, dark, juicy and packed with flavor. From raspberry's cousin to jam jars and smoothie bowls, this berry has more story than you think. Let's dive into the thorns, flavor, and heritage of the blackberry. The blackberry is an edible fruit, berry, produced by many species in the genus Rubus in the family Rosaceae, hybrids among these species within the subgenus Rubus, and hybrids between the subgenera Rubus and Idiobatis. The taxonomy of blackberries has historically been confused because of hybridization and apomixis, so that species have often been grouped together and called species aggregates. Blackberry fruit production is abundant with annual volumes of 20,000 pounds, 9,100 kilograms, per 1 acre, 0.40 hectares, possible, making this plant commercially attractive. Rubus armeniacus, Himalayan or Armenian blackberry, is considered a noxious weed and invasive species in many regions of the Pacific Northwest of Canada and the United States, where it grows out of control in urban and suburban parks and woodlands. The blackberry looks similar to its raspberry relatives. What distinguishes the blackberry is the connection between the berry and the torus, receptacle or stem. When a raspberry is picked, the torus remains on the vine. This is why there is a hollow core in the raspberry fruit. When a blackberry is picked, the torus stays with the fruit. The term bramble, a word referring to any impenetrable thicket, has in some circles traditionally been applied specifically to the blackberry or its products, though in the United States it applies to all members of the genus Rubus. In the western US, the term caneberry is used to refer to blackberries and raspberries as a group rather than the term bramble. Briar or briar may be used to refer to the dense vines of the plant, though this name is used for other thorny thickets, such as smilax, as well. The usually black fruit is not a berry in the botanical sense, as it is termed botanically as an aggregate fruit, composed of small drupelets. It is a widespread and well-known group of over 375 species, many of which are closely related apomictic microspecies native throughout Europe, northwestern Africa, temperate western and central Asia and North and South America. Blackberries are perennial plants bearing biennial stems, called canes, from their roots. In its first year, a new stem, the primosane, reaches a full length of about 3 to 6 meters, 9.8 to 19.7 feet, trailing on the ground and bearing large palmate compound leaves with 5 to 7 new leaves. It does not produce any flowers. In its second year, the cane is a floricane with a non-growing stem. The lateral buds open to produce flowering laterals. First and second year shoots produce short curved, sharp thorns. Thornless cultivars have been developed during the early 21st century. Unmanaged plants tend to aggregate in a dense tangle of stems and branches, which can be controlled in gardens or farms using trellises. Blackberry shrubs can tolerate poor soils, spreading readily in wasteland, ditches, and roadsides. The flowers bloom in late spring and early summer on the tips of branches. Each flower is about 2 to 3 centimeters, 3/4 minus 1 plus 1/4 of an inch, in diameter, with 5 white-pink petals. The fruit only develops around ovules fertilized by the male gamete from a pollen grain. Citation needed. The most likely cause of undeveloped ovules is inadequate pollinator visits. Infection with raspberry bushy dwarf virus sometimes causes no visible symptoms and sometimes causes incomplete druplet development and crumbly fruit. Genetics. The loci controlling the primosane fruiting was mapped in the F locus, on LG7, whereas thornlessness was mapped on LG4. Better understanding of the genetics is useful for genetic screening of crossbreds, and for genetic engineering purposes. Blackberry leaves are food for certain caterpillars. Some grazing mammals, especially deer, are also very fond of the leaves. Caterpillars of the concealer moth Alibonia jeffrella have been found feeding inside dead blackberry shoots. When mature, the berries are eaten and their seeds dispersed by mammals, such as the red fox, American black bear, and the Eurasian badger, as well as by small birds. Blackberries grow wild throughout most of Europe. They are an important element in the ecology of many countries, and harvesting the berries is a common pastime. However, their vigorous growth and tendency to grow unchecked if not managed correctly mean that the plants are also considered a weed, sending down roots from branches that touch the ground, and sending up suckers from the roots. In some parts of the world, such as in Australia, Chile, New Zealand, and the Pacific Northwest of North America, some blackberry species, particularly Rubus armeniacus, Himalayan blackberry, and Rubus laciniatus, evergreen blackberry, are naturalized and considered an invasive species and a noxious weed. Blackberry fruits are red when unripe, leading to an old expression that blackberries are red when they're green.